This is Rob Temple for Boxing Social. Delighted to be joined by Eddie Hearn. We're here today at the Open Workout in Saudi Arabia. Get the IFL microphone out of the shot. Mr. Cassius, how are you, Eddie?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. I'm buzzing, to be honest with you, because when you do 50 shows a year, saying things can get a little bit monotonous, but obviously sometimes you go to the same arenas, same fight week, etc., etc. And this is just, I feel rejuvenated being out here because it's so exciting. Everything's so fresh, so new. I mean, they've never done this workout before. We've got like 2 hours, I think, till AJ comes or something like that, and it's filling up nicely already. I went to the arena today for the first time. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. In fact, they're taking it down after the fight. I can't believe it. And just, I feel like every day that passes, it convinces me more what a great decision it was to come and do the fight here, and what a pivotal moment it is for the sport to stage this event in Saudi Arabia, because I think things are going to change, you know, potentially forever, and I think this is just the start of what they're trying to do over here.
You've obviously been out here before for the World Boxing Super Series. You're here now. I mean, is it realistic to expect that you'll be looking to bring more fights over to the Middle East?
Of course, we had those discussions last night. I mean, that's, you know, we're in now, we're partners, and we're looking to bring major fights here. My conversation last night was, one of the important things about coming here was not just about trying to attract the biggest fights in the sport, but actually making an investment in the sport. And when you talk about making an investment at grassroots up, you know, amateur clubs, you know, young fighters come through and actually achieve in the sport, Al-Qatani on the card, you know, people like that who actually, to really grow this sport to big levels over here, you're going to need young Saudi fighters to come through, and you're going to have to produce a quality young fighter. You do that by, like I said, investing not just at the grassroots level, but actually in the development of amateur boxing as well. There is a very they're insistent on making that happen, and that's important, because I know people just think that I just love a pound note, but you couldn't find someone less of a cash and grab merchant in this business than me. So I love a pound note, but I don't just want to come here like many would and just charge these people through the nose, take the money and run, so see you later. We've got a chance here to actually build something significant in the Middle East for boxing, and that's what I'm interested in doing. They've actually seen that, and one of the reasons that I wanted to do it out here, and one of the reasons I want to continue, is because mainly Prince Khalid, who is my guy, he has a massive passion for the sport of boxing, and he's got a vision, one, to bring this fight here, but also to change the sport and to grow the sport. And when you've got people with passion and money who are willing to invest in the sport, you're almost unstoppable. And this is a major moment for them.
Let's talk about the undercard. Obviously, yesterday we had a quick interview. We spoke about the main event. Let's talk about the undercard, starting with Michael Hunter versus Hunter-Povetkin. Obviously, a fight that's gathering a lot of attention from boxing fans. Talk to me about that fight, and particularly it getting made.
I think it's a great fight. I mean, look, firstly, it's hard to find two heavyweights in the sport who, you know, wouldn't take a fight. I'm really don't know where I'm going with this conversation, but what I'm trying to say is, because the music put me off, what I'm trying to say is both guys always up for a fight, okay? And I think when you look at Michael Hunter, he's consistently taken fights, like almost late notice a lot of the time. Hunter-Povetkin the same. You know, he's willing to fight anyone. This is a perfect explanation, or example, sorry, of, loud, isn't it? Of two top 15 heavyweights who are on the verge of a world championship shot, but are actually looking at fighting each other rather than just waiting. And that's what we need to do more of. Chisora, Parker, Usyk, Hrgovic, Dillian Whyte, you know, all these guys, Gassiev, probably missed some out as well. Sling them in together. Great heavyweight fights to be made. And actually, Hunter against Povetkin, like Joshua Ruiz, you could debate that fight all day long. You know, what's going to happen in that fight? Hunter's tough to beat. Tough to beat. And Povetkin's looking good, sharp, getting old. Hunter right fancies it. I think it's going to be a great fight.
Had a tweet from somebody last night. Sometimes you get good tweets, sometimes you get bad tweets.
Good or a bad one?
Well, I'll let you be deciding that. Alexander Povetkin, we know about his indiscretions outside of the ring with his performance-enhancing drugs. He's failed a multitude of tests. I was alerted back to a quote that you said before he fought Joshua, where there's a sense of he was the mandatory. You had to fight him and you had to take that. Ideally, at the time, you wouldn't have worked with him because of his outside of the ring issues. Since then, you've worked with him numerous times despite those issues. What is that?
Because I'd already done it. And because he's not banned, he's not suspended, he served his ban. Like, I worked with him, I quite like the guy. I like Andre Rabinski, I like World of Boxing. He's a good heavyweight fighter. Done it, you know. Like I said, when he was mandatory for the world title, we had no choice. But once I've done it, I mean, you know, is what it is. But someone said to me the other day that 5 of the top 10 heavyweights have had, you know, either a positive test or been banned. It's very difficult to avoid someone that's had a discretion or failed a test. For me, it's not about that. It's about actually the bans and the suspensions. Because if someone serves, if you look at Eric Molina, for example, I know all about his case with UK. He got a brutal fine. I think it was 3 years or something like that. And when you look at the supplement, it was brutal. I think there's a situation where it's a genuine mistake, if someone would say, genuine mistake, someone who's taken a supplement that's on the ban list and just, you know, it wasn't necessarily, don't get the word, but, you know, like a vindictive move to try and genuinely cheat, and he got 4 years. What I love about UCAD is, ladies and gentlemen, the sternness of the bans. Look at Ryan Martin, just got a 3-year ban, or 4-year ban, right? The problem is, everything's confidential, and it takes so long. So, I don't have a problem with you being banned for 2 years, and then when you come back and go, you know, I've made my mistake, I've served my ban, can I get another opportunity? What I won't tolerate and what we shouldn't tolerate is no bans. You know, and this is the issue that I had particularly with Jarrell Miller. Tom Little, ladies and gentlemen. Where it was like, you failed 3 tests for 3 different substances and you got no ban. If Jarrell Miller gets banned for a year or whatever he's banned for and wants to come back into the sport and we have a conversation, maybe I let him fight again. I don't have an issue with you serving your ban if you've made what might be a silly mistake. Every case is different, isn't it? One guy takes something over a counter like Molina, and another guy fails 3 tests for 3 different substances. You know, but we shouldn't have to ban people. That should be done for us, and we should follow whether we think after that ban we should let them fight or not.
How do you make that distinction yourself though? Because I can't remember the last fighter who came out and said, oh yeah, okay, you got me, I doped, I cheated and blah blah blah, and it always seems like somebody has an excuse for drugs, for something in the system. Where do you draw the line and how do you make that differentiation?
We don't have to draw the line. We shouldn't have to draw the line. That's the job of the governing body and the testing agencies to decide that for us. We're not a court of law. We're not a national anti-doping panel. They've got to do that job for us, and we follow that, just like in every other sport. You know, you don't get in athletics an event promoter going, no, I'm not working with, I don't know, Gatlin because he once failed a drug test. It's up to the governing body of the sport and the drug testing agency to issue that fine, and then the promoters deal with it. But generally, once someone's served a proper fine, should they be able to fight again? Well, then I guess at that moment it's up to me, or more importantly, the fighter, whether they want to fight that guy, do you know? But we can't, this is the same problem where everyone thinks that Eddie Hearn runs Sky Sports, Eddie Hearn runs The Zone, Eddie Hearn runs UCAD, Eddie Hearn runs VADA, Eddie Hearn runs the commissions in America. No, I'm a promoter who puts on fighters who are licensed to box. Will I always 100% make the right ethical decision? In your eyes, or not your eyes, probably not. But I'll make the decisions that I believe are right for myself, for my business, for my fighters, for the fans and for the networks. But unfortunately, I can't ban fighters. There are occasions that you won't hear about where I've refused to work with a fighter who's failed a test. The only one you know about publicly is Jarrell Miller, where he has come to me and said, I do not want to sign with Top Rank or PBC, I want to sign with you. And obviously I can't do it. So, but there's others, but you just don't hear about them publicly. But the fact is, when someone's clear to box, I have to be honest, I'm looking at Jarrell Miller and I'm thinking, this guy could be in massive fights in 2020 that I could make a lot of money from, right? But where's the ban? Where's the time? Jarrell Miller, I like him a lot, and I want to work with him, but I can't because where's the ban? Do you know what I mean? This is a guy who signed for a fight to fight Hunter-Joshua, failed 3 tests, three different substances, fucked everything up. Well, in fact, we're here because of Jarrell Miller, so maybe he didn't fuck everything up. But I like Jarrell Miller, and I would like to work with him, but there's got to be a ban. And once that ban's been served, then it's up to me. But not many people, well, no promoters, once a ban has been served, would actually not let that fighter fight if they had a value to their fighter or to the event or to the broadcaster.
You mentioned Eric Molina's UCAD test, and you know the ins and outs of that. What happened to UCAD's confidentiality? How do you know so much about that but not Dillian Whyte?
Because that's their job. The confidentiality is only when the case exists. When the case is closed, and this is what we're waiting on at the moment with Dillian Whyte, they will produce a full document, as they've done with Ryan Martin. And the only thing I'll give them a little bit of slack on is the documents are serious documents, so they do take time. But they shouldn't take a year, right? So if you read, you can go online and you can read the Eric Molina case. Because once the decision is made and the ban is given or the suspension is given, it's all there for you in full detail. But until that moment, the reporting of the information and all information is completely confidential. For me, that's wrong. But you've got to mix the qualities of the two different bodies, in my opinion, VADA and UCAD. VADA will report the information publicly to everybody involved in the testing. UCAD will only report it to the individual and to the commission. And it's completely confidential. The commission can't tell anyone, the fighter shouldn't tell everyone, right? And that's the position you're in. But UCAD will give brutal fines, right? So we almost need VADA's quality of reporting to be mixed with UCAD's sanctioning, and we've got the perfect mix. But unfortunately, this is the problem with VADA is, Hunter-Joshua has done over 26 tests in 12 weeks with UCAD and with VADA. But the only results we get is VADA, who report every test to us, to Ruiz's team. We don't know, the UCAD tests don't get reported. And the problem is with the UCAD test, actually the problem is with all these tests, it takes 2 or 3 weeks to get the response of each individual test. So on fight week, this week, we're getting results of tests that might have been done 2 weeks ago. Because when they take your blood here, in Saudi, they're here, they've been taking blood, they send it back to normally the Salt Lake agency to get it tested. So it's quite a long process. And another one, we're going deep now, but another one of the problems that I have is you could test positive on fight week and we don't find out about it till next week or the week after. Do you know what I mean? But there'd be no hearing or no sanction because no one would know about it. Not because it's confidential, just because it's gone back to the lab to be tested, it's waited to be tested, the testing's done, the reporting's done, the analysis is done, it's sent back to VADA, and that process can sometimes overlap a fight. Do you know what I mean? But again, it seems like no one's really cheating on fight week. Do you know what I mean? Like, how many fighters fail drug tests on the night of a fight? Very few. Like, it seems like this cheating that goes on is done in camp, early on in camp, and that's why the voluntary anti-doping system and the 365 testing and all that kind of stuff, UCAD particularly, that test in and out of tournament events, are done consistently over the year.
Seems to me like you could have picked a number of heavyweights to box Filip Hrgović. Why pick somebody when you've already got fans who are unhappy about the amount of fighters who are on the card who have failed drugs tests? Why go for Eric Molina? There seems to have been a number of other heavyweights that you could have picked. Tom Little.
Tom Little's already fought Hrgović.
That's a good point,
yeah. Thank you.
Anyone around that kind of level? Gerald Washington.
Gerald Washington's not available. We would have taken him. But really, they look at the opponent and they go, we like Eric Molina. And I go, all right, and I go, and I know that he's cleared to fight, he's served a ban, an insane ban, whatever it was, 3 or 4 years, and he's cleared to box. So I'm gonna have him on the card. That's just being honest with you, do you know what I mean? Like, sometimes, and this isn't the excuse, but sometimes there's so much going on that a Hrgović fight on the undercard, say you don't really overthink to that level, do you know what I mean? The matchmaker will come to me, Rob, and go, Eric Molina's in for the fight, and Hrgović is really happy with that, and so Sauerland. Okay, good. I think. Oh, hang on a minute, shit, like he once failed a drugs test. Yeah, you know what, so did Hunter-Povetkin. I didn't even know about Maris Wack. So did Maris Wack once, you know. So did Luis Ortiz. You know, he just boxed last week. Tyson Fury failed a drug test.
Tough heavyweight charge from Hatfield.
For me, it's more about sanction. And that's what we have to. That's what we have to respect as promoters: the sanction, the licensing, and who is available and who is not available.
You mentioned ethics earlier, and the fact that you've turned down the opportunity to work with certain other fighters, Jarrell Miller being one of them. Is it not ethical to kind of look at a show like this? This is the biggest card of the year, certainly from a boxing point of view. And
no, because if a guy has failed, has served a 3-year ban and he's back fighting and has boxed twice since, like. I don't think so. You can go as deep into it as you want. Alexander Povetkin, same thing. He served his ban, he came back, he was a mandatory. I put him in a Joshua fight. Part of that deal was I had to give him 2 more fights to make sure I got him for the right price of that deal. So I was a bit stuck anyway. But even now, like, I don't know. I mean, for me, I think people just go so deep into it. The problem again goes down to the sanction, because we can't sanction as a promoter. And people say, yeah, but you could say that you're not going to let them box. But you know, half of the top 10 have at some stage in their career tested positive. So it's impossible to avoid everyone. A lot of them are mandatory. You know, look at the WBA situation. You've got Manuel Char. You know, he's the WBA world champion. He's just failed a drug test. He's fighting. You know, would I stop one of my fighters from fighting him? No. It really comes down. If the fighter turns around and says no, or the team says no, we don't want to fight him, nothing I can do about it. But this doesn't work like that.
But can you see how people would look at it as the fact that you are quote unquote rewarding people who have failed drug tests by putting them on these massive cards and allowing them to earn big purses?
They're just opponents, and they're going to get work from any other. Eric Molina had 3 or 4 offers to fight, and he chose this one probably because it's a major event. Do you know what I mean? So we can't just like we got to get real at the same time, Rob, and say that we live in a world where these guys we need heavyweight opponents, and there's only so many opponents out there. And it's all very well saying Tom Little, he's already boxing. Gerald Washington, he don't want to fight Hrgovic. And then you get to a stage where like a good opponent for this fight, really good opponent, was Eric Molina.
What about Martin Bakole?
Hrgovic won't fight Bakole at the moment.
Why not?
Because he's a fucking absolute beast. And right now, I don't think he's looking to fight a fucking absolute beast. It's not as easy. This ain't a game on a computer. Do you know what I mean? It's not where you just sit there, and I'm not accusing you of being a computer fantasist, but it's not, just put him and him in with each other. It don't work like that. So when you need an opponent, and the heavyweight world is very thin at that level, and Hrgovic, Sal, and say, what about Eric Molina? He's good. And everybody, like, this isn't just about Hrgovic. Eric Molina's been a guy. Joseph Parker wanted to fight Eric Molina, and we looked at that, but I couldn't do that fight because he was under a ban. I probably could have done that fight actually, but I chose not to and wait for his ban to expire till we let him fight again. And that was actually a situation where he was supposed to fight him in June, and he was allowed to fight him in America, but his ban didn't expire till November. And I spoke to the board about it, and the board said, look, he's banned by UKAD. You could actually let him fight in America, but we don't think it's a great look. And I said, I agree with you. And we didn't do it. Now he's banned up, he's served his time, he's getting his chance, and see how he gets on Saturday.
We're still waiting for the findings of the Dillian Whyte situation with UKAD. He's not boxing in the UK, he's boxing out here. Can you see why people would listen to what you've just said there and apply it to the Dillian Whyte situation?
No, in what respect?
In the fact that Dillian Whyte has this ongoing case with UKAD.
It's been cleared. You know, people choose to take certain bits of information and do they want. Also, people are absolutely clueless. So people go, oh, he's fighting in Saudi because he's banned in Britain. Do you not realise that as a licence holder in Britain, the British Boxing Board of Control have to approve him to box here? Do you understand that? Not necessarily you, but you know. So the board have cleared him to box. Why? Because he's not suspended, because he's cleared to fight. The only thing we're waiting for is this report that we get from these other cases from UK. He's had his hearing with the National Anti-Doping Panel. He's been cleared to box. As a promoter, what do you want me to do for my client? Just say, oh, sorry, mate, you're going to have to completely stop your career, even though you're not suspended. You haven't been found guilty. You've been cleared at a hearing, and you're just going to have to wait, mate, for UK. He's got to fight. He's got a career. He's got to earn money. He's got to provide for his family. The problem comes down to the testing system, and people are ordering sanctions. But the Dillian Whyte situation is so much different to people think. He's actually had his hearing. He's had his hearing. He's actually been before a panel with the evidence and been cleared to box.
What's the hold up with the report, Eddie? Because we've been told October for a long time.
That's what I was told originally. I've not been involved. Dillian Whyte and his lawyers dealing with UK. End of October we were told. Look at Tyson Fury. How long did that take? 2 years. Ryan Martin, 1 year. Even the Eric Molina case took like whatever. But we're saying the difference with those is they never had a hearing to determine whether he should be allowed to box or not. So really, what I'm saying is the difference between, but respect the difference between the two. This guy has presented the evidence before the National Anti-Doping Panel and been completely cleared to box. So he ain't going to sit at home and twiddle his thumbs while he's waiting for a document to be produced. He's got to fight, and that's why he's fighting here, and he's fully cleared to do so.
Okay, well, Eddie Hearn, there's a bunch of people behind me. I've taken up enough of your time. Thanks very much for speaking to Boxing Social.